Okay, let's go and continue now a little bit more in the Heilige Mishnayos over here of the Memches Kinyonei Torah. So I don't even know what we're holding, but I think we're holding Be'erach in the Sugya of, we did yesterday, we did the idea of Simcha, that we did definitely for sure. We are now going to move on to some of the next word over here, and that is, right, we did Shimish Chachomim, right? We did the idea of being Mishamish Tamid Chachomim, how choshev that is. Now we move on, the Dikduk Chaverim, right, with closeness of, with care and closeness of discussions with others. So, in fact, it's interesting that most Chazal tell us, that most of our Torah actually comes from interactions with many of our peers. That's why it's important to choose your friends in the right way, because those friends will help you to acquire the Torah, which is why it's one of the Memches Kinyonei Torah. The Chofetz Chaim actually brings down a bunch of benefits of learning with other people as opposed to learning by yourself, is because you can sharpen your mind. And it is important when you learn to make sure to sharpen your mind and make sure that you are doing everything correctly in that case. And that's how the Emunah Shmuel explains that the kavanah over here of the Mishnah saying B'diktur Chaverim means bedaktek, that you choose the right chabura, the right group, the right olam, because they are going to put you on the right path. Moving on to the next one as well. It says also Pilpul Talmidim, but Pilpul Talmidim over here is another thing that is a way of person being kohen of the Torah. It comes out in the Ma'aseh that if a person wants to really learn the Torah and keep the Torah b'shleimus, he has to be able to teach Talmidim. That doesn't mean he has to be a Rebbe in a yeshiva. It could mean teaching someone lower than him or someone that doesn't know it, that he knows it, and he helps someone else out. In fact, that's why the Sfarim HaKadoshim bring down, it says, Odom la'omal yulad. We were created in order to work, to toil. La'omal yulad. The Rosh Hashanah of la'omal is lilmoid almanas lelamed. Learn almanas to teach. And therefore it's important as the Memches Kinyonei Torah for a person to have pilpul talmidim in that case. Moving on to the next idea is as well, very important as well, is the idea of a b'yishuv, with a settled mind. That's also very important. Some people say this means the Gerus over here is yeshiva, which is number Yud Gimel 13 of the Kimonim, is just sitting, which is also something a person has to realize. Don't expect to be Kabul Torah by sort of hearing Shurim on the go. You have to sit, you have to herb, you have to steig, you have to grow, you have to sit by Smodi Gedola. That's what it is. That's the whole purpose of everything, and that's what Rashi says. Nisiyashe vadova means to be ma'ayin in it, and think about it. When you hear a shir, or when someone says something, or you learn something, perhaps ponder over it for a few minutes to think, is this right? Does it make sense to me? Is it settled with me? How can I implement it in my life? And that is an important thing for a person to do. Rashi says that's what it is. It means to be ma'ayin in it, to go into the umkus of what that is. And that's why one of the Memches Kinyonei Torah is to have a settled mind. Also, when someone asks you a question, Aaron Gedalia, is also to be sort of be aware and don't be so quick to answer. Maybe understand, what does he mean? Why is he asking it? Right? It's an idea of making sure that a person is going to pass on the Torah in the correct way. And the next one, the Memches Kinyonei Torah, is B'mikra. That means just learning the Chumash. The next one is B'mishnah, which is of course also very important for a person to be a baki in Mishnayos as well. They bring down that it's important for a person to know Mishnayos, not only for the wonderful ta'eles that it does to your neshama, right? Because you change around the letters, of course, Mishnah is neshama, but also because it gives you the basis of all of Shas. And therefore, when a person learns Mishnayos, there are all sorts of programs out there, Mishnah a day, 2 Mishnayos a day, a Perik a day. We used to have a Rebbe in Yeshiva, when I was a Bacha, that did 16 Parakim a day. He finished every month. Every month he made a siyum every day. I remember actually he made a, I remember in yeshiva when he gave a little piece of cake. He's like, I just finished Shas, and he's continuing again his own one little piece of cake, and that was it, It was mamish like, as if it was nothing. It's unbelievable. But they bring down 16 prokim a day of Mishnayos is a school to be a masmid. So if you're looking to be a masmid, that is the way to do it. Anyway, Rabbi Say, moving on, Rabbi Say. By the way, the Maral writes on the Memches Kinyonei Torah, it says Mikra, how important it is for a young person to be familiar with Chumash. Chumash is also something that is very, very important. The Maral talks all about that, how it is very vital for a person to do that. In fact, the Gemara in Kedushin, that Lamed, tells us how a person should divide up his learning, right? You should equal amounts of Mikra, Mishnah, and Gemara in that case. It's very important. The Rambam says it very clearly in Hilchos Talmud Torah Perek Aleph that a person is obligated to divide his learning into 3 parts: a third in Mikra, a third in Torah Sheba'al Peh, and a third in also understanding and going into depth over there. It's very, very important in that case. One last one, Rabbi Isai, before tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem, we move on. And that is the last one is B'miyat. Where am I? Just to make sure we get the right one over here. B'miyat Schora. That is limited business activity. That's also important. The Chavetz Yaivitz also points this out, that specifically the Mishnah begins with a list of 14 positive actions that a person has to do in order to acquire Torah. Then the Mishnah lists 6 items that disturb a person's learning from which he could refrain from. And that's why this one over here is B'miyat Schora, means less business activities in that case. And maybe we'll just hop around one last one as well, is B'miyat Derech Eretz, B'miyat Tainug, another 2. B'miyat Derech Eretz over here, it does not mean Chas v'Shalom minimize your Derech Eretz in the sense of be respectful, Chas v'Shalom. That's not what it means. Well, according to Rashi and the Maral, Derech Eretz is daily affairs, daily living things that people are excessively involved in, like social interaction with others, again, which is an important thing, but not too much, because of course that's going to cause bittul Torah, and that's going to not allow you to be the kohen of the Torah. And of course miyug tainug is in the same thing as well. Now that doesn't mean, again, be very clear, the Mishnah does not say you're not allowed to have any tainug in this world. You're meant to enjoy the world. The Yerushalmi Mesaktos Kedushin says we're going to have to get in v'chashbon that we didn't enjoy the Rabban Shalom's beautiful world. But miyut means to minimize it. Again, the more tainugim that you're looking for, the less Torah you're going to get. The less tainugim, the more Torah you're going to get. So at the end of the day, and that's what the Gemara tells us in Ksubas Daf Kuf Daladom base as well, how a person has to know that. The Tosfos tells us over there that before you daven that the Torah goes in, daven that the tanugim, the geshmaka things don't go in right when you eat. In other words, when you minimize certain things and delight, you end up with more Torah. That's why the Mishnah told us in the last Mishnah, right, on the floor, better bread, better water and salt. Why? Because it doesn't mean that literally necessarily as we explained over there, but it's more when you minimize the tanugim, that gives a person a very important thing. Tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem, we're going to continue with the Mishnah with a very important line, and that is to minimize your sleep, which we will get to the different people showing that. Enjoy.